Welcome back to the Introduction to React series. In this video we'll explore how to handle events and manage component state. Let's render a button in the app component and attach an event to it. Handling events in JSX is just like handling events in the DOM, with a few minor differences. You attach events using attributes, just like you do in HTML. The difference is events are named in camel case instead of HTML's lowercase attributes. In this case we need an on-click event on our button. In HTML you write the JavaScript handler as a string. In JSX we open curly braces and insert a JavaScript statement here. This statement should return a reference to a function, which will be the actual event handler. You will usually write the handler as a nested function inside your component function. In this case, our handler would just open an alert with some message. We can test our event now, and it works correctly. The event handler receives a single event parameter, which is of type synthetic event. It contains all properties that a JavaScript event object does, like target, current target, prevent default, and others. When events occur, you usually have to change the state of the component, which should in turn change what is rendered in the browser. Let's create a counter which outputs a number and increments that number by pressing a button. Instinctively, you might think about using a local variable to store the state. In this case, the state is the count integer. This will render the counter initially with the right value, but changes to local variables do not cause a component to re-render, so we would not see any changes when the button is clicked and its event handler changes the local variable, as I'm demonstrating right now. Even if we could re-render the component somehow, local variable changes do not persist between re-renders. Therefore, the value of our count variable would reset to 1 on re-render. React solves this issue with state. To define a state variable, we will use the useState hook. In React, functions that start with the use keyword are called hooks. Hooks allow functional components to hook into React features. useState is just one of the available hooks, and we'll explore more of them throughout the course. To use the useState hook, we have to import it from React. useState accepts a single argument, the default value of the state variable. In our case, that would be 1. It returns an array of exactly 2 items, which we'll destruct here. The first item is the current value of the state variable, and the second value is a setter function to modify that state value. Now, we only have to update our event listener to use the setCount function instead of an assignment. And if we test our component again, it will be working correctly. When we mutate the state variable, it forces the count to re-render, and the state variable persists between renders. State is local to the component. If I render this component 2 times, the state of each component is independent, as you can see right now. And with that, we'll wrap today's video. We explored how to handle events and manage component state with hooks. In the next video, we'll explore how to implement side effects with another React hook, useEffect. Stay tuned.